What is your understanding of culture and diversity? I have a pretty interesting view on culture and diversity. I grew up in a town with no diversity at all. Everyone was white, everyone was Catholic, there was no Africans, no Asians, no Muslims. The only holidays that I knew were the Catholic ones, like Christmas and Easter, because that was the only ones that are celebrated in my hometown. I didn't know anyone that was Jewish. I didn't know anyone that celebrated Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. I actually thought Kwanzaa was a Jewish holiday, so I clearly had the wrong idea. There was no variety in my hometown. Everyone was the same. Then, when I graduated high school, I moved to Milwaukee. All of a sudden, I was merged into a world full of people who were completely different than me, and I loved it. For once, I wasn't the different one, because every single person is different. I was so interested in hearing everyone's story, and I just wanted to know about everyone. I still find it hard to wrap my head around the fact that people dislike other people because of the set of traditions that they have or the different color skin tone that they have. But I won't lie, it was a huge culture shock moving to from a small town to a large city like Milwaukee. Since I moved to Milwaukee, though, I have witnessed sexism, racism, and discrimination. But now I look back at my elementary, middle, and high school career, and I see situations through different eyes. I realized that it was happening then too, but I just didn't understand it at all. When I was in middle school is when I first started realizing it. The world was a lot bigger than my hometown, but it wasn't until I got to Milwaukee that I realized how much bigger it actually was. When I was 2, my parents moved me and my sister from my birthplace of Fresno, California, to the place I now call home, my hometown, which is Stockbridge, Wisconsin. It's in central Wisconsin. They moved here because of the great public school system, but little did they know how much this tiny little town of 549 people would actually affect my entire perspective on culture and diversity. Growing up, I knew that I was an outsider in my hometown, but I wasn't a townie, and I had no interest in becoming one. A townie is a pretty common term used in my hometown. It means that a person will live in Stockbridge for the rest of their lives, and they're totally okay with it, and they're completely invested with everything that happens there, good and bad. Usually their parents and extended family lives in the area, and they're known by their last name and what their parents have done or haven't done. Townies normally get married at a really young age at the same Catholic church that everyone else gets married at. Then they have their reception for their wedding at the same place that everybody else does, a little place called Neighborhood Bar and Grill. They serve fried chicken and tenderloin tips for dinner at all the weddings. And people there's been a running joke in my hometown that, like, if a couple has been together for a while, people will be like, oh, one of the chicken and tips coming. Meaning, like, when are you getting married? This is a prime example of the way life is there, though. It moves slowly, life's based on tradition, the people and the ideas generally don't change, and with all this comes a lot of outdated way of thinking. Looking back at some of the experiences that I witnessed, though, it almost seems like I grew up in the 1930s instead of the 1920s. There were people with Confederate flags hanging off the back of their trucks. Most women were stay-at-home moms. Most people worked the same jobs that they got right out of high school. Not only were people predominantly white in my hometown, the majority were white Catholics. I remember getting teased on multiple occasions in elementary school because I was never baptized, and I didn't belong to a local church. It never bothered me, though, that I wasn't baptized, because my parents always told me they chose not to on purpose, because they wanted me to explore religions with an unbiased, open mind, and having me baptized would have taken that away from me. Another occasion that I can vividly remember feeling like I was thrown back to the 1930s was one that still haunts me to this day. One of my best friends, Sam, she had a crush on this boy named Alex, and he was from Appleton, which is a large, big city near my hometown. It was the middle of the summer, and he agreed to drive out to Stockbridge for a bonfire that one of our friends was having. When he got there, Sam and I walked out to meet him because we thought it would be better for him so he didn't have to walk in alone, because being an outsider there, it would be bad. It wouldn't be good. As we walked around the back of the house, we were greeted with very unimpressed looks, and we were trying to walk over and say hi to everyone, but no one would really say anything. So I walked over to my friend, who was the owner of the house, Nick, and I figured maybe he was mad because, like, he didn't know who Alex was, but he wanted nothing to do with Alex at all. He didn't greet us, he didn't say hi, so I just walked over, and he directed all of his attention right away to Alex and said, "All right, boys, let's find a rope, let's find a tree." And everyone started laughing, and I couldn't even believe it. The three of us just stood there in disbelief. Like, did he really just say that? Did that actually just happen? Like, how? Like, it was 2010. So we turned around immediately and went back to the car, and I couldn't figure out why he would have said this. And then it clicked. Alex had dark hair, he had dark skin, and it was the middle of summer. They thought he was black. He was actually white, but they thought he was black, so they were threatening to hang him. But moving to Milwaukee really helped me understand how important diversity is. Having come from a community that is fearful of cultural diversity, I saw how repercussions like microaggression and racism are subconsciously developed. But I also got to witness the beauty of having a community that is extremely accepting of different cultures and people, like Milwaukee. I like that I got to see how fearful and unaccepting it can make people if there is a lack of diversity. Fear of the unknown is a very real thing, and if diversity is the unknown, people are going to be scared of it. In order to take that fear away, I believe that everyone needs to be understanding and accepting of others' beliefs and traditions. Has it changed since watching the TED Talk? I think the TED Talk that I used for this assignment taught me a lot. I'm realizing that it's a lot more difficult than I thought it would be to create diversity in a workplace. The difficult part of creating a diverse workplace is the fact that it takes everyone in the company working together, not just one single person. A lot of the time, it's our subconscious mind that is making assumptions that we don't even realize. I think it would be more beneficial for both parties if the gender and name were blacked out on resumes, so that the interviewer doesn't walk into the interview with a bias to start with. What advice does your book give you on interacting with people from other cultures? For starters, being understanding and patient. That there are cultural differences is a major thing. Keeping this in mind throughout the interview will help both parties be more accepting of each other and those differences. Being patient and recognizing that there are cultural differences will also help make the interview go a lot smoother. I believe that eye contact, handshake, smiling, gestures, all those are different in different cultures. So like in Asian cultures, eye contact is disrespectful, whereas in Western cultures, it's very respectful to give someone eye contact. So I think that's a really good thing to realize. before you go into the actual interview. How would you prepare for the interview? How would you prepare for the interview you would give to the job applicant? It would be best to prepare and be familiar with other cultures and norms, I believe. If you specifically know what that person thinks and how they understand things, it will be easier to adjust to each other's cultural norms. 2 questions I think that would be great to ask. Why would you want this job in general? If you're moving somewhere far for a job, it's got to be important. You have to be dedicated to the job. So I think that is a great question. And also, have you ever worked as part of a team? It's good to know if someone has worked as part of a team, because you then know if they can do it in the future. Granted, you can always train someone, but it's a lot better to know if they can do it already. How might you structure the interview? Would there be a mix of prepared or follow-up questions, or would it all be prepared? I think that it would be best to have all structure if you don't have the same cultural norms, because it just puts it doesn't allow for free-flowing conversation, which can be bad, but it can also be good, because then you'll just get right down to business. How might you manage language or cultural difficulties in the interview? One major thing that will help with cultural difficulties is preparation in general. Preparing for a specific interview, even as an interviewer, will make understanding the actual person being interviewed a lot easier. Reading books, articles, anything like that about general norms will make having cultural differences a lot easier to recognize and put both parties at ease during the interview. And also, if they speak English as a second language, it would be best to probably have an interpreter in there, even if they can fluently speak English, because then the interpreter can speak up if something is being misinterpreted. How would I conclude the interview? I would start with summarizing it, and then encourage friendly relations. And then I would discuss the next steps that were going to happen, exchange thank yous, and call it a day. Thank you.